You should never have come here, Warrior of Light. I labor only to forge a lasting peace. A peace you would deny us out of ignorance and blind faith. No matter. If it is our fate to be at odds, then it is mine to strike you down. We whom gods and men have forsaken shall be the instruments of our own deliverance. Partake of my flesh. Fill this vessel with your light. Walk amongst your brothers and sisters once more. O Saint Shiva, still the hatred within our hearts and bless us with eternal grace. Fool. Blind, bloody fool. You, of all people, should understand the suffering war begets. That no sacrifice is too great if it brings an end to the violence. Mine is the righteous cause. You fight in a war you do not understand, a pawn of liars and schemers. And they are no less ignorant than you, following the creed of their fathers without question, never thinking to ask why. Trapped in a delusion of their own creation and blind to the truth. Warrior of Light, redemption is not beyond us. We who walk before may lead those who walk after. Seek the keeper of the lake. See with eyes unclouded. Do not squander Mother's gift. Hear, feel, think.
And so the vessel withdraws, a predictable outcome. Nevertheless, La Habrea will be pleased. How unfortunate.
On behalf of the Holy See of Ishgard, allow me to express my deepest thanks. Never before have we been required to contend with a primal. Indeed, there were fears in some quarters that our knights might not be equal to the task. From what we have now learned of these beings, I can say with certainty that we would have lost a great many men had the Scions not intervened.
Then the argument for preemptive action should be self-evident. Perchance now you will reconsider my proposal that Ishgard move against Nautalon.
Ere we first met, a similar proposal was tabled, but the Holy See decreed that we were to observe, and that military action should be taken only in self-defense. All things considered, it was not an unreasonable decision. Since the calamity, 2 vigils have fallen to the Horde, while Garuda has never shown any inclination to storm the gates of judgment. Which is why this unprecedented crisis and its resolution may prompt a change in policy. You who have faced these primals know well the threat they pose. Ishgard did not. Not until now. And there is naught like a brush with death to change a man's outlook.
At the very least, this should silence any lingering objections to our arrangement with Revenant's Toll. The Holy See may even feel moved to grant us its formal endorsement.
So far as it is possible, the Scions shall be compensated for their service.
We should be grateful for any aid you can provide.
As a gesture of good faith, I shall withdraw my previous request. Your people are doubtless needed elsewhere.
That will not be necessary. We too have a vested interest in watching Dravania's movements.
I see. Once more, I must thank you.
Sir Emmerich, if I may, do you truly believe that Midgardsormr could return?
The heavens are a window unto truth, but those who interpret their movements are not infallible. I requested your involvement as a precautionary measure.
But of course, you sought an excuse to compensate us from the first, mindful of what would happen if Revenant's Toll were taken by your enemies. Ishgard is not wont to aid its neighbors, but that does not preclude it from manipulating them to serve its own interests.
Choose your next words carefully.
Do you know what sort of man becomes Lord Commander of the Temple Knights? One who comes from good stock. I did not. Yet here I am now. Why do you suppose that is? Because I swiftly learnt to tell the difference between words, deeds, and beliefs. You are correct, Master Leveilleur. Ishgard desires to see Revenant's toll flourish, as it would present a troublesome obstacle to our enemies from the south.
We are so glad to be of use to you.
As we are to you. Ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement, lest we forget, one born of necessity. The dragons grow more restless by the day, and the heretics harry us nigh without cease. We have contended with such troubles for centuries, but there are limits to even our endurance. Yet as a pauper is loath to part with his meagre possessions, the leaders of Ishgard are not wont to render up their trust to outsiders. But with perseverance on our part, they may yet be made to see the light. Nevertheless, one must take care when walking the road less travelled.
Wise words, Sir Emmerich. I shall make a point to remember them. I must apologize for my earlier outburst. I hope it will not sour our good relations.
Not at all. You but spoke from the heart. I trust you understand that at times my duties may prevent me from meeting with you. On such occasions, my second-in-command will speak for me.
Lucia, at your service. Pray excuse our reticence. We are but wary of speaking too freely, lest our sentiments be made known to our enemies. Know that the Lord Commander and I are of one mind. For the sake of Ishgard, and of Eorzea at large, I pray our peoples can put aside their differences. Those who dwell in the past risk losing sight of their future.
Should aught befall one of our shipments, pray inform Lucia immediately. You may also relay to her any words you might have for me alone. Not being of Ishgardian birth, she owes no allegiance to any noble house, making her as near to incorruptible as one can find in my homeland. Suffice it to say, I trust her completely, and so may you. Which reminds me, Lord Orchathon, if you would be so kind.
Certainly.
In times such as these, trust is ever in short supply. Mayhap this will go some way to rectify the problem. The results of our investigation into the heretics' recent attacks, as well as our interrogation of the merchant you detained.
Sir Emmerich, I cannot thank you enough.
Think nothing of it. Ishgard may be many things, but it is no friend to Garlemald.
Did I not tell you to have faith, my friend?
Words cannot well express how glad I am to see you return to us hale and whole. Needless to say, I am most eager to hear your account of that which occurred in Curthis, assuming you're ready to speak of it. Excellent. I shall summon the others at once. Iceheart used her own body as a vessel for a primal soul?
Master Louisoix's writings make no mention of such a possibility. Can we be certain this entity was a primal?
As certain as we can be that good King Mogglemog the 12th was a primal, I should think. Both were ostensibly summoned.
Let's not quibble over definitions. Of more concern is the implication that Iceheart retained her will, even after she was possessed. We are talking about a mortal, wielding the power of a primal.
It can't possibly be that easy, can it? There must be some sort of sacrifice required. Or maybe she's just special?
What qualities this woman possesseth, I know not, but full sure am I that she was groomed for this role. Few are privy to the secrets of summoning, and but a single party standeth to profit from their dissemination.
Well, I wouldn't presume to comment on how the lass came to know about summoning, but I will say that what she summoned was a primal. The readings were the same, or near as damn it. Strange as it all sounds, it's really no different from what you faced before. Then mayhap it is time that we re-examined our previous encounters.
Pack your things, Ida. We're going back to Gridania.
Yes, sir!
About Iceheart's final words to you. Hear, feel, think. Hydaelyn speaks to her as well. If Iceheart is blessed with the power of the Echo, she will doubtless have used it to further her goals. Or could it be that it was a revelation granted her by the Echo which first set her on this path? She did say that the Ishgardians were blind to the truth. Do you think she has knowledge of the origins of the Ishgardian-Dravanian War? It would do much to explain her unwavering conviction.
Did not the Lady Iceheart implore thee to seek the Keeper of the Lake? And did she not imply that in so doing thou wouldst come to see with eyes unclouded?
Midgard-Zoma was a king amongst kings who reigned for centuries on end. But he is dead and his wisdom lost to the ages. Unless the Ishgardians' fears are well founded, it would seem we have yet another reason to stand watch over the Keeper of the Lake. For a mercy we are well positioned to do so. Iceheart, Shiva, Ascians, and Midgard-Zoma. I shudder to think how they're all connected.
I've heard. Truly bothersome business. No, I do not foresee a problem on that front. The main concern is Roban. There is no telling what the brute might do. Have the blades watch him in the flames day and night. You may leave the Sultana to me. I shall personally attend her grace. Sever one of the East Aldenard trade routes. That ought to keep Lolorito occupied for a while. Nanamo Unamo. For my sake, pray be a good little Sultana to the last.
Welcome back, my friend. I have already received word from Alfino. To think that Flame Marshal Huayu was the Garlean agent. I know not what to say. Together with Robon, Eline lent us much-needed aid at the time of our order's founding. She was particularly passionate about the need to tackle the primal threat. When we discussed the subject, her eyes fairly shone with determination. Whatever else she may have been, I choose to believe that it was her true self with whom I spoke then. But now is not the time to dwell on such matters. I have an important announcement to make regarding our effort to defeat the Asians. We shall begin as soon as everyone is assembled. My thanks for coming, friends. Moonbreeder, the floor is yours.
By now, I'm sure you're all familiar with white auracite, the miraculous material that'll allow us to capture Asian souls. Back at Snowcloak, we verified its ability to absorb vast amounts of ether. Alas, it leaves something to be desired in the area of stability. The stone can only store ether for a short while before expelling its contents.
In addition to auracite's inherent limitations, we must needs be wary of our enemy's strength. Our foe draweth upon an infinite wellspring of power. Even should we succeed in entrapping him, the stone will not long contain his wrath.
Meaning that, if we want to kill the swine, we'll have to be quick about it.
'Tis our belief that an Asian soul may be permanently undone, if smitten by a sufficiently concentrated burst of pure ether.
The only only trouble is, we can't say for sure how concentrated the burst needs to be. Without knowing how much ether an Ascian soul is composed of, we're basically guessing.
Our sole clue lieth in thy struggle with La Hebrea.
During that encounter, Heidelin bid you forge what she called a Blade of Light, a weapon which took the form of a luminous stream of energy. Based on your description, we believe the blade with which you vanquished your foe was composed of ether. Admittedly, your victory proved ephemeral, as La Hebrea was able to use a crystal of darkness to flee into the space that lies between our world and the void. The fact remains, however, that Heidelin placed the means to destroy the Ascians in your hands. Be that as it may, it would be unwise to assume that she will do the same when we next encounter such a foe.
Quite so, my lady. We must needs find the means to forge our own blade of ether, one to equal that which Heidelin did benevolently bestow upon her champion.
That is all well and good, but it seems to me that producing such a blade will require a prodigious quantity of ether. Whence will it come, pray tell?
What if we had 2 pieces of white orosite? One to trap the Ascian, and the other to store the ether for the blade.
Oh, nice try. But it's as I said, the stone won't hold ether for any length of time. We'd still need to collect the stuff there and then, sorry to say.
And therein lies the rub. Finding a way to create the blade whenever and wherever we choose.
'Twould seem more research is in order. I'm going to linger a while, perform a few more tests on the orosite. And I could do with some help. Urianger, why don't you lend me a hand?
Mine apologies, but I am required at the Waking Sands. Lady Minfilia hath given me sole charge of the premises. 'Twould be unseemly to leave them unattended.
Sole charge, you say? So you're basically alone there, then? Well, that settles it. I'll just have to come to you.
While you were afield, word arrived from the Sharlayan motherland. You will recall that a survey party was dispatched to investigate the incident of the Isle of Val. What they discovered was troubling, to say the least. According to the report, the isle has been erased from existence. 'Twas as if a hole had been torn in the very fabric of reality.
Aye, yet the mystery endeth not with the isle's disappearance. It hath come to light that a number of scholars in various other locales were reported missing at a similar juncture.
What's more, they all had something in common with the head of the students of Baldessian. Every last one of them was researching a phenomenon called dimensional compression, or the rejoining as the ancient texts call it. I'll be damned if that's a coincidence.
All indications suggest Ascian involvement, but I sense that a force greater still is at work. The entity the dark beings call the one true God. We must pray that my dear friend Kryl regains consciousness soon. If she bore witness to the Isle of Val's final moments, she may be able to shed some light on this mystery.
Following the calamity, the forces of the 14th Imperial Legion entrenched themselves in strategic locations across Eorzea. So swiftly did they accomplish this, it was suspected that they had received help. To think that it came from Huayu, my right hand.
There is more. We have reason to believe that Huayu didn't deal exclusively with the 14th. She also answered to a higher authority in Garlemald. But this higher authority could not have been the Emperor. By consenting to the media project, Solus Zos Galvus showed himself to be more concerned about preventing the spread of primal influence than claiming Eorzea for the Empire. He would happily have seen the lot reduced to ash. We believe a number of high-ranking figures within the royal household were against the decision, but that they knew better than to oppose the Emperor openly. Of course, this didn't prevent them from making clandestine provisions, in which Huayu played a part.
Alas, these provisions did not prevent Delamud from falling, and the ensuing chaos changed the face of the realm forever. Yet Eorzea survived. To all intents and purposes, the Meteor Project had failed, and the Empire was left to rue its lack of a decisive means to eliminate the primals. Until, that is, it stumbled upon the Ultima weapon.
Even before the accursed thing was dug up, it seemed to me the 14th had the might to overwhelm our weakened armies. Yet they chose to hide behind their walls. Why?
The Black Wolf was wary of making the denizens of Eorzea desperate, lest more primals emerged to bleed the land. The discovery of the Ultima weapon, however, emboldened him to resume his war of conquest in earnest.
But there was one in Garlemald who believed that Van Belsar's actions were premature. One who stood higher in the Imperial Army's chain of command. He ordered the legatus to halt his advance, only to find that the Black Wolf had slipped its leash, and that the 14th now acted alone. In a bid to bring Van Belsar to heel, he used the agent he had planted in Ul'dah prior to the calamity to undermine the Legion's efforts.
A man who outranks Van Belsar, yet opposed the late Emperor's decision to annihilate Eorzea. This could only be the former High Legatus of the Garlean army, now known as Emperor Varus Zos Galvus. So he was Huayu's true master.
But one of several in actual fact. We've learned that even as Huayu served the Empire's interests, she sold Imperial secrets to a certain faction in Eorzea. In so doing, she helped to maintain the status quo, thus prolonging the conflict. Considering who stands to profit from war, it isn't hard to imagine who her other masters were.
7 hells! You mean to say that she was a double agent?
Triple, if you consider her services to Van Belsar and the new Emperor as separate.
As neatly as these pieces seem to fit, one aspect of the puzzle remains unclear to me. By whose will was the Marshal feeding intelligence to the heretics? And try as I might, I fail to see how aiding their cause would profit either her Imperial or monetarist masters. Could it be that another hand is at work here? If so, Huayu must be made to reveal whose it is.
Not only have I lost a trusted friend, now I must interrogate her as a stranger.
Not a pleasant task, I grant you, but a necessary one. Unless we weed out the ivy, root, stalk, and stem, it will simply grow back.
I know that full well. Those closest to Huayu have already been detained, and I will question them alongside her.
General, pray keep in mind that there may be unwitting abettors among them.
All will be treated fairly. On that you have my word. Those who are innocent have no cause to fear.
You have ever been a friend of truth, General. I hope the unpleasant task of weeding out falsehood will not detain you too long. Though it be for the sake of Eorzea, doubting one's comrades is poison to the soul. And with that, I take my leave.
All these years, I've been made to dance to their tune. How could you, Huayu? How could you side with them? Those cankers! who take from this land and give naught in return, who use their power to disempower and grow fat while the people starve. I know you can hear me, monetarist scum! Your crimes will not go unpunished! One day I will purge this land of your sickness before the eyes of the 12, I swear it!
I shall have no further need of you this day. Your Grace. I fear that not even mine own chambers shall remain private for long.
Has the situation grown so grim?
Ever since he proposed the Cartiner Reclamation Bill, Taleji Adeleji has risen to greater prominence upon the backs of impoverished refugees. The monetarists were ever united in their pursuit of profit, but the man's actions have torn a rift in their ranks. They snap at each other as rabid dogs. Yet now is not the time to be bickering among ourselves.
If this bickering is a threat to law and order, might you not have grounds to dissolve the syndicate?
Would that the solution were so simple, Admiral. Alas, my moving to dissolve the syndicate is certain to spark outrage among the influential merchant class, whom the Cabal represents. This would serve to exacerbate the current unrest, and peace would slip still further away. Be they rich or poor, natives or refugees, all who reside in Ul'dah have a right to pursue happiness. It is the duty of a ruler to protect this right. If I am to perform my duty, I must needs tread warily. It would not do to make enemies heedlessly. Were Lord Lolorito here, he would doubtless say that I have my head in the clouds.
A ruler is required to take a wide view. Try as we might to cater to all needs, some will inevitably be overlooked. As such, there shall ever be citizens who feel aggrieved. It cannot be helped. But as you have informed us, the monetarists take no view but their own. They hunger for power while the masses starve. In the absence of a common cause, it seems beyond any one individual to make Ul'dah whole.
And the presence of a Garlean agent within the Immortal Flames only makes matters worse. Even accounting for Ul'dah's historic reliance upon mercenaries, such a grievous breach of security is unprecedented. I fear this business will provide the monetarists with a rod to beat Raban.
Eorzea can ill afford for the Immortal Flames to be dampened now. Ere long, the Garleans will turn their ravenous gaze toward our lands once more. If we are to resist their might, our nations must stand together. Yet for this to happen, our nations must be whole. Cannot be done to improve the situation in Ul'dah.
The true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her citizens. Alas, the citizens shall never know these things, so long as their lives are ruled by the ambitions of the few. The monetarists claim to represent the best interests of the people, but in sooth they desire only to manipulate them for their own selfish ends. For the government to serve the people, it must be formed of the people. For Ul'dah to move forward, it is not only the syndicate that must be dissolved.
Nay, you jest.
My friends, it was for no other reason than to make known to you mine intent that I requested your presence here. When I make my declaration to the people, chaos shall inevitably ensue. As the last monarch in the line of Ul, I make unto you this request. Help Roban to preserve order and protect the people. Forsake them, and you forsake yourselves. For a strong Eorzea will ever have need of a strong Ul'dah.
Your Grace, are you certain of this?
There is no other way. When the time is ripe, the nation shall become a true republic. Both royalists and monetarists shall cease to be. Ul'dah will no longer belong to kings or queens or merchant princes, but to her people. Roban, forgive me for casting aside all that you have toiled for in my name. Beyond this gesture, I am powerless to help my subjects.